So Andrew, one thing that's never going to go away is the fact there's always going to be high net worth investors out there. There's always going to be people that have got ultimately a pot of money that they want to put to better use and make them a good return. And it's important to look at that when we're looking at alternatives to property. Where else do you put that money, and how well will that do?
I think over the years we've seen various alternative investments, if you wish to call them that. Currently it's whiskey, or has been whiskey maybe last year. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And I think if we look at those, they all have the merits on their day. But do they have longevity? If we look at cryptocurrency, a number of the coins, I'm not a technical expert on this, a number of those coins have disappeared. Bitcoin seems to be taking the race. A bit like maybe when VHS, Betamax, and I can't remember, there was a third one, was it Philips? It all came out as VHS in the end, and I think Bitcoin's leading the field in those. But it's so volatile. It can be up thousands per day. And if you are looking to realise that capital on day one and it's dropped, yes, it's a loss.
Well, I remember we had an investor that came into the office last year, and we built them their portfolio for them, and they had invested heavily in Bitcoin and stuff. And he said, look, he's not necessarily moving away from it, but it's stressful. It can go so up, it can go so down a bit. And what he liked with property, when we were talking that to him, is that stability. Is that of it's not going to shoot massively up, massively down and stuff, but you get that real steady income, and if you maintain property over the years, you will do well.
And I think that element of stress is an important that is another element in the room. I think that stress element, Mike, because you and I both work. We think 9 to 5 is additional hours, but these high net worth individuals, they earn their money by working hard. They haven't got the time to faff around with the light bulb needs changing, and I think that's where in property you need a good managing agent, you need a good letting agent, and that's where residential estates come in. I think the level of expertise we have within our various departments, short-term let, buy-to-let, in the investment sales, the after-sales care that Danielle gives, I think it's to take that stress away and to minimise the amount of time that investor has to spend on their particular property. So I think key point there for me would be to nominate and use a good letting agent, a good managing agent is important.
That's it, who are aware of regulations, because we know things are changing this year, certainly on the AST side of things, and I know there'll be maybe some landlords out there that are a little bit concerned, in terms of being able to evict tenants in the future is going to be a little bit tighter to do that. But that paves way to opportunities, and like you say, ourselves, we've teamed up with a company that offer insurance for landlords, where they'll maybe pay £10 a month extra, something like that. But should they come into difficulty, and should they not be able to evict a tenant after not paying their rent, that steps in and that pays them on it. And I think that will always be there. There'll always be opportunities that comes in to fix problems.
With every situation, there's an opportunity, isn't there? And I think what you said there, Mike, is very important. That the fact that with the changing legislation, how does an average landlord keep pace with what is coming in, unless they're a member of a certain body that emails them or notifies them of any change? By using a letting agent, you lose that liability, that responsibility, because it's not just that, it's how do you comply with the change of EPC? There is that concern about what happens if the tenant doesn't pay. Can you go and get that type of insurance individually? Far easier just to use a good letting agent that will do it all for you. You say, if your rent is £1,000, or mine in Manchester at the moment is just short of £1,200, £10 a month is not big biscuits. It's manageable.
And it's what the high net worth people do. We touched the likes of Donald Trump and stuff. He's made so much money from property. You look at the Times 100 list; they're all property investors. And those people aren't fixing leaks and sort of problems with tenants.
They are not.
They have got management companies in place, like that we offer ourselves and stuff. So you're right; it is crucially important, and you will, maybe listen to this, see things on the news that makes you think, oh, is property going to struggle because of that? But it's not. You just need to educate yourself, go with the right people, and you will still do.
I think you're right there. Go with the right people. I think the people we deal with, the investors we deal with, have an expertise in their field. They should stick to that, because that's where they're making the money, and then invest the money wisely and leave the experts in property management to run it for them.
And that's why, I know we're talking today about the outlook for this year, but if we just rewind a little bit to last year, we still saw a lot of experienced investors buying property, and that was that's quite notable. That, you know, people who have bought, you know, over the last couple of decades and stuff, not put off whatsoever by what they were reading on the news or anything like that, knowing that things are going to improve and go well, and actually spotting times like that where actually it's a good time to buy. When things aren't in the news and people are saying maybe be careful, get in at those sort of prices and watch it grow.
I think you're right. There's a lot of speculation out there. Is that a change in our society? TikTok, Instagram, X, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to any.
Say,
So I have no idea.
Yeah.
But is it? There is so much information out there, and some of it can be immensely misleading. There is nothing to stop an influencer, and I have no idea what an influencer does, apart from trying to influence the market, but they have no knowledge, or very limited knowledge. You know, a number of people talk to these or listen to them. You need to talk to the expert in the field. Absolutely. I can remember a brief snippet there. It's just anecdotal. Guy's talking to his mates in the pub. Should I buy property? And one says, no, you shouldn't buy property. The other guy says, don't mind me asking, Mike, how's your health? Mike says, well, actually, I've got a bit of a heart complaint. Ask your friend here about your cardiovascular problems. Why would I do that? Well, he's an expert on property. You know, you've got to talk to the right people. You wouldn't talk to a heart complaint to Joe Soap in the street. When you're talking about property, investment, managing your wealth, talk to the right people.
That's it, and worth probably mentioning at this stage, you know, that is what we offer at Residential Estates. And it's not trying to put a plug in, but we do offer consultations. We call it that because it's exactly that. It's listening to clients and finding out what you're trying to achieve. Is it long-term income? Is it short-term growth? And then us advising, right, well, this property suits you best. These are the reasons why of it.